This video is to help guide you through your practicum field experience video on the Campus Vision. There have been several questions. If you are a student who's getting a second master's, you have already completed all your practicum requirements, so you're going to do what is listed on the screen. For other students who may have already completed all 3 of their practicum field experience videos, you will be required to submit either your feedback letters from all 3 videos or a screenshot of the feedback from the comment box in Blackboard for all 3 videos. Again, all 3 videos need to have either the feedback letter or a screenshot of the comments that show it's been reviewed in Blackboard. On the video guidelines, at the very beginning, you have a focus statement. You want to pay attention to that. That tells you the focus of this activity, which is to look at the development, the articulation, the implementation, and the stewardship of the campus vision, and to kind of learn how it shapes and focuses the campus culture. And then you have the task. The task tells you that you need to interview at least 1 campus administrator and at least 2 instructional faculty members. So let's talk about what that might look like. A campus administrator can either be a principal or your assistant principal. Instructional faculty members needs to be anybody that has anything to do with instruction on your campus. Example, a teacher, an instructional coach. An example of someone you could not use for that role would be a counselor, because they do not have anything to do with instruction on your campus. In your guidelines, you have the ELCC standards that are covered within this activity and the ESBEC standards, which are covered in this activity. So be sure and look at those as you review your video guidelines. You also have some key terms. So you want to look at those in case you don't know what we're talking about. Those key terms will help guide you in what we're looking for within this activity. In the guidelines, you also have the non-negotiables. They're just what they say. This is what has to happen in order for your video to be pre-approved and approved. So all segments need to be recorded on a campus or a school facility and in a professional environment. So you can't film it at home. You can't film it at the coffee shop. It needs to be in your classroom or a nice conference room in your building, or you could do it at the administration building. So be sure that you do that and you look professional, because you want this to show TEA what you can do and to put your best foot forward. You need to be dressed professionally. So that means no t-shirts, no sweats. So consider what a principal would look like if they were doing a professional interview. So collared shirts, maybe a jacket, maybe a nice blouse or a nice shirt. But again, no t-shirts or no sweats. And you want to be sure that you look that role of a principal. Your communication, both written, verbal, and nonverbal, need to be professional and constructive. And again, we have guidelines that show the consequences if you use unprofessional behavior within this practicum requirement. Your introduction segment must include the demographics of your campus. So if you're in Texas, you're going to use your TAPR report. If you're out of state, then get with your mentor and see where you can get the demographics outlining your students and faculty on your campus. The activity segment, which for this video is the interviews, needs to be a minimum time of 35 minutes. So there is a minimum time requirement for this activity segment or your interviews. So you have 3 interviews that you're required to do. All 3 of those interviews do not have to be 35 minutes long. You're going to get a total for 35 minutes. So you're going to take the time for interview 1, 2, and 3, and those need to total 35 minutes. If you get to that point, you've filmed them and you're short of that minimum 35-minute requirement, you may pull either another administrator or another instructional staff member and do a 4th interview so that you meet that minimum 35-minute time requirement. Your total video, that's with your introduction segment, your activity segment, which are the interviews, and your reflection, need a total 45 minutes. It's fine to go over, but they've got to be at least 45 minutes. You've got to interview each one of your participants separately. Again, individually, one-on-one. That's you and one of your interviewees talking about the campus vision and going through those questions that are in that guideline. So that doesn't mean you can do them in pairs or in groups. They need to be done individually. You need to be the only interviewer of the interviewees. So if there's another person going through the program that's on your campus, y'all can't sit together and tag team it. It's got to be you and your one interviewee, one-on-one, doing those interviews for it to meet the requirements. We must be able to see you and your interviewees clearly and hear you clearly. So again, make sure that you're in that screenshot. If we see the back of someone's head, that's fine, but we need to be able to hear what's being said. So be sure that microphone is turned up. So again, the participant requirements for this video are yourself and one campus administrator or 2 instructional faculty members. So when you go to the Principal Program Resource course in Blackboard, you're going to click on Video Guidelines on that left-hand side and then choose Campus Vision. Read those guidelines carefully. There are 3 sections: the introduction, the interview or activities section, and the reflection section. In that introduction, you're going to give the demographics of your campus. You're going to introduce yourself and your participants and talk about the purpose of the video. Now, as you move forward, everyone in Texas is going to have to take the PASL in order to be certified. So things to consider. Did you choose a diverse group to interview about the vision? So that could be based on ethnicity or years in your school, experience, subject level. And you need to consider what each one of your participants adds to the discussion. So why did you choose them? What are they bringing to the table about the discussion? You might choose to bring a new teacher and see if they know what's going on. You may choose to interview someone that was part of the vision development process so you can get a feel for that. You may want to choose, if your principal's new and your assistant principal's been there, you might want to consider which one of those you want to bring to the table based off your other 2 interviewees. But you want to be sure that you have some diversity in your group. You can submit your interviews in 3 separate links. So 1 link for your campus administrator interview, and then 2 links for your instructional staff members. You do not have to take those 3 and combine them together into 1 link. You can submit them as separate links. In your reflection, you're going to think about you in that interview. What do you need to do? What do you need to work on? What did you learn? How's that going to impact you in the future? You're going to think about those 4 separate parts: that development, the articulation, the implementation, and the stewardship of the vision. Did you have any surprises? Is there anything that you would change? So take that time to be very self-reflective about how you did, what you learned, and anything you might change. It's not a grade. It's for you to self-reflect and for you to use that as you move forward to become better. When you're filming, you have several options. You can use your own device and then move that clip over to your My Media, or you can use Kaltura Capture Space, which is available to you in Blackboard. You just click on it, it records it, it moves it directly into My Media, so that might be the easiest way for you. Be sure that you have a strong internet signal. If not, you may want to plug it directly into the wall to the internet so that you be sure that you're sure that you have a clear signal all the way through and that you don't drop something along the way. And a reminder, we need to see both you and your interviewee and hear you throughout the clip. So again, Your videos need to be in your My Media in Blackboard. So if you use Kaltura Capture Space, it's going to go directly in there. If you use another format, then you're going to have to upload it into your My Media in Blackboard. And just a reminder, we can't take digital platforms such as Google Links, Dropbox links, or YouTube links, or any other digital platform. You've got to have the video directly in your My Media for this to work and for it to be accepted. And that's just to protect your privacy and the privacy of the people that you've chosen to interview about your campus vision. Once you have it in My Media, you're going to have to load it into Blackboard, which is connected to Portfolium at this time. Portfolium is the place that we have chosen to kind of house the deposits of your video so that we have them in case they need to be looked at by TEA or another one of our entities that looks at us for accreditation. So be sure that you use the directions that are provided and follow them exactly as written. Don't skip a step. Make sure you follow them exactly as written. You're going to find those in your week 4 listing under the video requirements, and it gives you the way to load it in to My Media and the way to be sure that you submit it correctly. So it can't just be sitting in My Media because we will not see it. You've got to make that step to put it in Blackboard, which is linked to Portfolium. If you're not especially techie, that can be stressful. Dr. Harrison is very gracious in offering tech support to any student that needs it, so take advantage of that. Before you get frustrated, he can make it easy for you. He can walk you through the steps, and that just helps you not get frustrated and makes this process a little easier. So his email is on that screen, and I am available if you need me to talk about the guidelines, if something's going to meet it, if it's not going to meet it, or you just have a question you need clarified. You can email me and I will answer them as well. I can do some simple tech things, but Dr. Harrison is really our tech guru. So we hope this is an enjoyable experience for you and that you learn a lot and you take this forward as you move into administration.